In spite of the headlines saying that corporate landlords are taking over single-family rentals and in single-family neighborhoods, 90% of all single-family rentals are owned by mom and pop landlords with less than 5 properties. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. Alright, so I have quite the interesting article for you today, and it has to do with single-family rental. So as you know, I am a single-family rental landlord. I'm a small mom and pop. I own 4 rental houses here in the Omaha area, and you know what? The majority of small mom and pop landlords own single-family rentals. So, you know, there's been a lot of stories going on throughout the country about these corporate landlords. They're coming over, they're buying up every single family house they see. They are taking over whole neighborhoods. And you know what? That might be true in certain areas. You know, you might go outside of Atlanta or Charlotte or these big, fast-growing areas, and there might be a lot of corporate landlords there who are buying up single family houses, trying to make a lot of money. And overall, you know, over the entire country, these giant landlords probably own tens of thousands of properties, but it's minuscule. It's a very minuscule number of properties as compared to the small mom and pops who own the overwhelming majority, okay? The overwhelming majority are owned by individuals such as myself. So I have 4 single family houses that I own, and you know what? I fit right into these statistics absolutely perfectly. They say that the majority of small mom and pop landlords own less than 5 properties. So there you go, okay? So when I'm talking about that, that's who I'm talking about. When I make most of my videos, I'm talking about us small and mom and pop landlords, though there are larger landlords who are also, I would consider to not be like the huge businesses, you know, like I know plenty of people who might own 20, 30 units, but they aren't, you know, huge businesses. They are still a person who is working a full-time job, or maybe they're self-managing this, you know, their little property portfolio that they built up over time. And you know what? They get lumped in with a multi-billionaire conglomerate somewhere, and that doesn't really make much sense. So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like, subscribe button, maybe leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. So first of all, are you a small mom and pop landlord? Do you own mostly single family rentals and 5 houses or less? Okay. And I mean, I think that's a pretty good definition. I mean, if we go back just a couple of years even, I owned 16 rentals and a bunch of multifamily in Kansas City. So I wasn't exactly a small mom and pop, even though I've always considered myself to be one. But you know, you get the gist of it. So if you're a small mom and pop landlord, leave a comment down below. You know, let us know how many houses you own and what kind of properties they are. So anyway, let me get into this article. It's talking about the fact that we are the overwhelming majority of landlords for single family homes. This article is coming from yieldpro.com, and it says, mom and pop landlords still dominate SFR. Let's get into it. Despite the steady drumbeat of headlines about Wall Street landlords and institutional investors buying up homes, the single-family rental market remains firmly in the hands of small-scale owners. A new analysis from Batch Data on the Resi Club and analytics site shows that 89.6% of SFR are owned by landlords holding between 1 and 5 properties. These mom and pop landlords continue to provide the backbone of the SFR market, even as build-to-rent firms expand in certain metros and grow their BTR inventories. And then it shows a little graph here, right? And it says mom and pop landlords are by far the largest owner of single-family rentals, according to Batch Data, right? And in there, it shows that 89.6% of landlords, of single-family rental landlords, own 1 to 5 properties, right? And then the second group behind that is 3.5% own 6 to 10 properties, 2% own 11 to 20 properties, 1.5% own 21 to 50 properties, and it goes down from there. And then 101 to 1,000 properties is 1.1%. Okay, so it does go back up to above 1.1% once you get up to 101 to 1,000 properties, right? And I would say if you're owning that many properties at that point, then you have a pretty decent sized real estate business. And I would say the 1,000 plus property group is 1.6%. Okay, so the 1,000 plus property group, we're talking about the corporate landlords, the really big ones. It's the guys, or it's the businesses essentially that you hear a lot about on the news. So they own 1.6% of all the single family rentals. But really what this article is saying, and I know a lot of people, they are very down on the corporate landlords, but they don't really control the rental real estate market. They don't. Okay? And there is a humongous amount of opportunity out there for people who want to get started being a landlord, people who want to grow as a landlord, create their own business. And you know what? It's still there. It's still there. So yeah, it's not easy as it was following the the great financial crisis. The prices aren't rock bottom, but it is still possible. And you know what? I think that being a landlord is great. Okay? I think it's a great way to, if you're like me and you've always wanted to start a business, run your own business, and have kind of a hands-off, approach where you are, still able to work a full-time job and then do this as well on the side. Well, being a landlord, it tops any other business that I can think of, maybe other than operating vending machines, coin-operated vending machines, okay? Well, what do you think, okay? Go ahead and put a comment in the comment section down below. Do you think corporate landlords are really that big of a problem in controlling the market? Go ahead and leave a comment.